Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Office Hours. Rajesh says he's testing from YouTube today. I love it. Thank you very much for doing that and letting me know how it goes. First time over there. See here. Today is Friday, September 24th. Welcome to Office Hours again. Friday, September 24th. We'll let some people join in here for a couple of minutes and then we'll get started. If you look at the comments on Facebook, hey Richard, what's up? If you look at the comments on Facebook, I have posted the link to be able to join me. If you want to talk to me live on this live stream, you will come on camera. We'll be able to see you, be able to hear you. If you'd like to screen share, we can do that. So we have the capabilities to do the things that you're probably used to with like a Zoom call here on this live stream. So if you'd like to join me again, I can't post the comment here directly. It is in the, oh wait, hold on. Maybe I can here. Let me give it a shot. There we go. Cool. Well, that one made it to our YouTube channel anyway, so I can post it directly to YouTube. Cannot post it to Facebook. Let's see here. Can I do that? Hold on one second. Figuring it out. Nope, can't post. Can't post the Facebook groups for some reason. So it's a technology thing, a permissions thing with Facebook. So I manually went and posted it though on the live stream in the Facebook group. So there's a link there. You'll see a comment from me or the comment from the admin saying, here's the link to do if you want to be able to join us directly on the call. Welcome, David Cartwright. See you, gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. Yamil, good to see you. Joe Johnson, welcome. Thank you, Rajesh. Richard. Awesome. Good to see you all here. We'll go ahead and get going. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me here. This is Office Hours. So if this is your first time at Office Hours, it's important that you know that I have prepared nothing for this call. And so if you do not have questions to ask, then we will sit here and I will stare awkwardly looking at myself on this live stream and you'll get to do the same. So hopefully you have some questions. There's two ways that you can ask questions. You can chat them into the comment here and I will see them and I'll respond to them that way. And then also, if you would like to come on stream, thank you, Dorn, just actually posted the link there. If you would actually like to join into the call and ask me a question, then you can click that link and you will come backstage here and then I will be able to put you onto the screen here so that we can chat. Okay, David said he's on his way to Austin and stopped on the highway. Awesome, David, please be safe. To get things rolling here, I will actually go ahead. I had one question that was chatted in from Joe Johnston regarding a comment that I made or a post that I made in one of my private Facebook groups. I have a Facebook group called the Information Alchemy Group that is all about creating and selling information, and particularly we're spending a lot of time in that group right now kind of looking to the future of that, and the future of that being things that are happening on the blockchain, NFTs, and just kind of how that is expected to impact all of our ability to, if we would like to be able to sell intellectual property using, again, the blockchain and kind of this whole concept around Internet 3.0 that the blockchain is potentially creating or is creating for all of us. So it's incredible times. I am as excited about the blockchain and this concept of Internet 3.0 as I was when the internet first captured my imagination back when I was living in Silicon Valley, and you couldn't help but, the internet capture your imagination if you were living in Silicon Valley then, because it was the first .com bubble is when I was living there. And just the energy around it, and just the wild sense of opportunities that were created or were going to be created by the internet. And it feels that same way with Internet 3.0 and blockchain. And it has a different feel to it, though, because it has much more of a sense of inevitability to me, and I think to many others. When Internet 1.0 was first coming on, if you remember that first .com bubble, I know some of you weren't old enough to remember that, but some of you certainly were. And so that first .com bubble, it was crazy. It was this tulip mania around the potential of websites and e-commerce, and eventually, as bubbles do, that bubble burst, right? And we had a major stock market correction, and so many of the companies that were promising new startups at that time went away, right? A very large percentage of them went away. And there was, at least I think for a lot of people in the general public at that time, this feeling of, oh, that was all just hype. This internet thing isn't real. And of course, people who were really being strategic about the internet understood, no, it's real. It's just that was a hype bubble, and we've got to get through that. And the internet's going to continue to build, and it will become, a thing, right? A mainstream part of our life. And of course it did. And then with Internet 3.0 now, this whole blockchain concept, you still hear, of course, there's all kinds of skeptics out there. There's all kinds of chatter out there about being hype. But I think for me and for many others already, the pace of this becoming a real thing, I think is going to go just much, much, much more quickly. Are we going to see a bubble burst? Yes. I'm sure we will, especially right now with all the mania around NFTs, collectible NFTs. That bubble's going to burst for sure. But I think the fact that we have an entire generation of people that grew up with this in their hand and playing web-based video games where you buy, tokens or credits or currency on those web-based video games so that you can then use that currency to buy digital assets in those video games. My kids, to them, that's just the way things are done, right? It's been that way for as long as they can remember, because they grew up, iPhones, iPads, and playing, Roblox and all these different games where you have these kind of currencies built into it, digital assets built into it. So there's just this sense to me and to many others that of course this is going to happen, and it's just how fast and who's going to capitalize on it and how are they going to capitalize on it. So all that leading up to, I had put a post inside of this Facebook group saying, hey, look, people, between, pandemics, the United States printing more money than, any time in history, the political turmoil, the cultural turmoil that we're feeling in the United States and elsewhere around the world, although I am incredibly optimistic, I believe that we are going to go through some potentially very challenging and turbulent periods of time here in the near term, where the pace of change and technology, combined with all those other factors that we're talking about, is going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are just really going to struggle to keep up with it. And when you combine that with the fact that there's a lot of concern out there about the stability of, traditional markets, stock market, of the United States dollar, of currency, right? And all these people who are moving into cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and things like that. It sets up this situation where a lot of people could struggle to keep up. And that could cause us again, some really turbulent periods of time. So I created this post. I said, hey, look, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with all of that. Nobody does, right? And maybe somebody comes along and figures out how to make everything go just perfectly smoothly. I hope so. But regardless, I feel like there is a series of steps that everybody should take. One, build your audience. Okay, whether we're dealing with the current version of the internet and social media and Facebook and Instagram, or this new version of the internet on the blockchain, having an audience that will tune into you and listen to you and potentially buy products that you produce or recommend is always going to be incredibly valuable. And I believe because of what's going on with the blockchain, it's actually just going to become more and more valuable. If you have an audience and you can direct the attention of that audience, I believe it's only going to become more valuable. Step 2, build an income you control. Build an income you control, okay? If the world is, turbulent, rough waters, there's going to be, of course, lots of people pulling back from investment, pulling back from the stock market. There's going to be companies that are going to be cutting jobs, all that good stuff. You don't want to be in that situation and be completely dependent on somebody else for an income. Okay, this is a group of entrepreneurs on this call. You guys all know that. So build an income that you can control. Okay, start yesterday, but if you didn't start yesterday, today is the next best time. 3, build it all on the internet, or again, whether or not you consider the blockchain to be the internet. I don't want to get into arguing over language, but build it online. Build it not in a physically dependent, location dependent business, so that you can be anywhere and still run it. Okay, you may want to no longer live where you're currently living when stuff is more volatile, or just because you want to travel, whatever it is. So build something that's purely online so that you can be wherever you want. I said you would damn well be learning about blockchain, crypto, and Web 3.0, or you're in trouble. Okay, start now. Those things are going to be incredibly, incredibly important for anybody who wants to get ahead a little bit. For anybody who wants to get ahead of this a little bit and potentially try and profit from these changes as they're happening, as people did in the first .com bubble. There's going to be a whole new massive wave, I think, of opportunities to profit, to invest time, energy, money, and profit from what's coming. I said personally, number 5, I think that having a healthy percentage of your money outside of the typical banking system is a good idea. That, again, I'm an optimist, and it's not that I expect anything to come just crashing down, or to do that for very long. Maybe it will come crashing down, but we'll get through it. But if you can get through it with less pain by having access to resources and capital because they're on the blockchain instead of in traditional banking systems, I think it's a good idea. For me personally, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it as some crazy, speculative bet. That's not the reason I'm putting money into crypto. I'm putting money into crypto to have a hedge, to have someplace else to have some money. So we're living in incredible times. I don't think that if you look back in history, I don't think that there is a more exciting time to be alive than right now. I mean, we are incredibly fortunate to be alive and to be entrepreneurs and to be thinking as entrepreneurs right now. It's just incredible. I don't know how anybody else could see it any other way. But given that list of things, Joe asked, hey, Mike, what's a good business model to start, given what you just, described, all those things that you described? If you wanted to, define a business model that you said, what's a business model that will capitalize on all of those things well and set me up for success? What would you do? And Joe, I thank you for asking the question, because it's a fantastic, important question, and I have a strong opinion on it, and that is to create a basic online media business. Okay, and when I say a basic online media business, like the most basic form that I think that anybody can start, that is also, very, very profitable, is just a simple newsletter, online newsletter business. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't think that you have to create a million information products. Don't think that you have to create any information products to start. Okay, I call this my ARROW business model formula. ARROW, A-R-O, stands for audience, relationship, offer. Okay, if you can just keep that simple framework in mind, I should be building an audience. I should be doing whatever I can, wherever I can, to build more of a relationship with that audience. And then I should and will be able to make them offers. And if I have a good audience and a good relationship with that audience, you will make money from it. It doesn't matter if it's your offers or affiliate offers, or you sell the attention of your audience to advertisers that place an ad in your newsletter. It's a simple, very, very effective model that, again, I think is only going to become more valuable as all of this unfolds in the future. Why do I say that? There's actually a book that I just recommended in that group. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, and I will share it with you. Here, I'll just do a screen share with you here to share it with you. But it is a book that is a fascinating look from a very, very successful entrepreneur turned investor. Let me go ahead and just share the screen with you here. It is called The World After Capital, from Albert Winger. You should be able to see it here. Ooh, hold on. Yep, there you go. You can see it on my screen here. The World After Capital from Albert Winger. So he's a venture capitalist, also a successful entrepreneur. And this book is being published, but it's also free to read online. And it talks about this transition that we're going through from an investor's perspective, from an entrepreneur's perspective, but from somebody who has really taken the time. He's essentially been writing this book for years through blog posts, and finding other experts and getting feedback on his ideas, on his blog posts and all that good stuff, interviewing people. And then he's pulled it all together into this book. But it's a book that says that, hey, we've transitioned a few times in the history of mankind. We've gone through these major transitions a few times, right? Agricultural, right? Being able to have agriculture that is mass produced was a major, obviously, shift in how the world operates, right? And then industrialization. Okay, so industrialization, and obviously another just major leap in how life, happens, and it's allowed us to produce everything that we know of now. But that we are now going through another one where the age of industrialization made capital very important. Capital was the thing. So how could you get capital flowing into the right places to take advantage of opportunities and take advantage of resources? And what he's saying now is that is actually no longer going to be the constraint here very, very quickly. The constraint is no longer in the system, is no longer capital. Of course, right now, some people have more access to capital than others. Some countries have more access to capital than others. But really, what this is saying is that the next wave that is happening is that attention is really the only form of scarcity that is going to exist at mass scale going forward. Attention. Okay, so that's a pretty wild concept. And again, I'm not nearly the expert that he is, but just in reading some of that book, it literally just got published this week. Just in reading some of it so far, it definitely does a very, very good job of capturing and articulating some of the ideas that are stewing around in my head that I haven't refined to the point of necessarily being able to articulate them as well as he has. But what I do believe is that the reality of all of this is that if you have the attention of an audience, it is just getting more and more valuable. It is going to become more and more valuable. And so I recommend you check out that book. Again, just search for it online, and it's free online to read. But it is also, it points to, in my mind, that the simplicity of having just a basic online information business is just incredibly smart to invest in and start right now. Okay. So I'm not saying that you have to do it in place of anything that you're doing right now. I have a lot of people in the community that are in the agency business. That's awesome. I run a marketing services business here in San Diego, right? My online media company for San Diego. So I'm not saying that you have to give up whatever you're doing. The beauty of the online, that basic online media model, especially just a newsletter model. If I had to pick just one thing to tell people, no matter what you're doing right now, start a newsletter in a topic that you really, really care about, where there's a good size audience, in a market, that you are passionate about, that you could spend the next 10 years or more knowing that you could be just obsessed with that topic and enjoy talking to people about that topic and enjoy researching about that topic. Then do it, because it will be an awesome business opportunity. Okay, that's what entrepreneurship is for me. I can talk entrepreneurship all day long, every day to anybody. That's why I have the business that I have. Okay, there are other topics for me, health and fitness. I love talking health and fitness and studying nutrition and studying, modern medicine and some of the scientific breakthroughs that are allowing us to, treat our bodies in different ways and do different things. All that is borderline obsession to me. So I could start a newsletter on that today, and I know I could spend the next 25 years investing and building an audience around that, and I'll kill it. I will. It will be an incredible business. Even if I don't create a single information product of my own, because there are so many affiliate offers that I can just refer to. And the concept of affiliate marketing and affiliate offers is going to get completely expanded and just rocked by the blockchain and NFTs. All of us will be affiliates when the blockchain is more a part of our overall lives. Everybody will be an affiliate. It will just be the way that business is done, because everything that gets passed around in the blockchain will have a smart contract associated with it. And that smart contract will say, hey, if Rajesh forwards along something from Mike, and then somebody ends up buying that thing or whatever, then Rajesh will get a percentage of it, and then Mike will get a percentage of it, and whoever else was connected to it according to that smart contract will get a percentage of it. We'll all just be affiliate marketers. Whether or not we probably won't call it that at all, but that will just be the way the world works. And so if you have the attention of an audience and you can write to that audience a couple times a week saying, hey, I recommend this, go check it out because I checked it out and it was very valuable for me, and here's why, you're going to be able to make a good living. And I don't care if that's on the blockchain or the internet or whatever it is. It may not be in the form of a newsletter a year and a half from now. Who knows? You will have to adjust with the times, right? But if you keep in mind, am I building an audience? Am I taking advantage of channels and technologies and all that stuff to build more of a relationship with that audience? Then you present offers, you're going to be fine. Arrow. Okay. So I hope that helps you, Joe. And I'm happy to dig into that more. Okay, while we have some additional questions coming up here, I'm going to go ahead and add these gentlemen on here, Rajesh and Keck. Thank you so much for joining me. Rajesh, you were here first, so why don't you, if you have a question that you'd like to ask, why don't you go for
it? Yeah. So I'm actually going through your R4.
Oop, I can't hear you, Rajesh. There's something. You're not muted on my end, so.
I could hear him. Can you hear me, Mike?
See what we can do. Glenn, yes, there's a link to be interactive. It's posted in the Facebook comments for this live stream in Facebook.
Are you
awesome, Joe? That's perfect. Rajesh, I still can't hear you. Keck, maybe you want to. Oh wait, other people are saying they can hear him. Hold on.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can hear you, Keck, just fine.
Okay.
Rajesh, give it a try again.
How about now?
There you go. I got you. Yep.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I don't know what's going on there. Cool. Sorry about that. Go for it, please.
Yeah. So I was going through your R4 system. So you have a couple of calls from your previous R4 sales system from the first version, I guess. It's called the foot in the door offer. So the foot in the door offer you mentioned last time was basically one of the part of the service, right? Like if you're talking about free websites, or you're talking about chat, you're talking about something. But in here, you're talking about foot in the door as in, hey, do you have 5 minutes to discuss what we do?
Yeah.
That's the foot in the door. So what is the thing to go about if you're doing cold outreach? Do you suggest we do emails first, or do the outreach first and then the emails?
Yeah, okay, good question. So Rajesh is referring to, my R4 sales system, which is a sales system that I developed for selling agency services, marketing services to small businesses. And that has been around for a long time because it still works. It's very just kind of fundamental in its approach, so you can use it to sell any marketing services really to any type of business. And then specifically, we're referring to the foot in the door formula. So the foot in the door formula was a guide or a document that I had created quite some time ago. And so it could be a little bit confused with the concept of a foot in the door offer, which we had also just talked about in this last week or two, Rajesh. So a foot in the door offer is what is an offer that's going to allow you to get your foot in the door more easily. Because when you're selling services, any sort of professional services, or you're selling software as a service or systems as a service where you're asking for a longer term commitment and recurring revenue, that can be a harder offer to sell. It can have a longer sales cycle. And so what has definitely been kind of proven over time here is that if I get somebody to buy from me once, then they are more likely to buy from me again, right? And that's why as online marketers, you'll see us put out offers for the $7 thing or whatever, because we know, hey, if I can get you to make a one-time purchase, any dollar amount, I've turned you into a customer mentally, and you're more likely to stay a customer. So a foot in the door offer is designed exactly to do that. It's what can I do to get my foot in the door to make some sort of transaction happen, even if it's not the ultimate sale that I'm going for, which is the longer term relationship and the longer term services. So a foot in the door offer, again, ideally, when you're selling services like you're selling, Rajesh, is some sort of offer that you can almost peel out of your current overall service offering. You can almost just kind of pull it out of it and then offer that one thing, so that it is not additional overhead for you from a service delivery perspective to have to deliver it, one. And then two, it naturally, and Keck, I just removed you, but don't worry, you're backstage, I can see you, and I'm gonna add you back in, but I just wanted to, since I'm just talking to Rajesh here. So It doesn't add a bunch of additional overhead for you to deliver it. And then it naturally leads to the rest of your service system because it's already a part of that overall service system. So that's an ideal scenario if you can do that, right? Because you may be able to come up with something that is some attractive, you think, foot in the door offer, but it's a whole new delivery, and so that's just creating more overhead for you as an organization to have to try and figure out, okay, now if I'm selling this foot in the door, I got to figure out how to deliver it, and it's kind of a distraction from my core services. You don't want to do that. So the best foot in the door offers are either a portion of the service that you peel out or something that's really truly like a product so that there is no service delivery associated. So maybe with your service, you have some front end information product that you were to sell, something like that, a training product or something. So there's no service delivery. There's essentially zero marginal cost for you. And you just sell that thing and then introduce them to your services. This is why Russell Brunson did such a great job building ClickFunnels, is because he was selling his books and information products and training, which he knew how to do very, very, very well. And then he just wrapped in the sale of the software as part of that whole process. So that's something that he was able to do very, very successfully. Now, you asked the question, what is the foot in the door approach if you are, calling, because I know you are calling business owners and trying to reach them directly. Yeah. So in that particular case, the foot in the door approach, yes, I think using email is a very effective way to at least in a scalable way try and get some sort of attention and get some sort of conversation going. A phone call is the same, but it's much less scalable, right? It's going to take more of your time and you're going to get hung up on a lot and all that good stuff. So it can be a bit frustrating and time consuming, which is expensive. And then Rajesh, depending on the number of people you're going after and budget and maybe industry, all that type of stuff, but direct mail can be a really fantastic foot in the door strategy. Okay, if I had somebody that I really wanted to get the attention of and try and get them on a phone call, and I know that person is not gonna, very, very low percentage likelihood that they're gonna respond to a cold email or a cold call. Like they've got 2 layers of, administrative staff that check that stuff before it ever even gets to them, right? In that case, I would go with direct mail, and I would come up with something that's very interesting, that is going to like really show up in their office when you send it, not just like an envelope. Okay, like what I've done in the past is I've literally sent business owners a safe. I was selling a data protection service, and so I literally sent them a safe. And so when you get delivered a safe to your office, that stands out. Everybody in the office is going, what the heck? Who got a safe delivered to our office, right? Everybody's paying attention to it. And so that business owner, gets this safe, and they open up the safe, and they're like, and inside of there is a letter from me saying, hey, I bet you're wondering why I sent you a safe. You can't not get their attention when you do that, right? So doing something like that is a very effective way if you're going after a low volume. That was pretty expensive. So I would send like 25 of those at a time when I was doing it, but it was very high ROI for me as well. So I ended up, sending out quite a few of them. That makes sense? Can't hear you again. Oh, wait, hold on here. You're muted.
Yeah, it's my side. Sorry. So, yeah. So that, I think I understand when you talk about sending out a direct mailer and then following up with a chase formula.
Yeah.
Wherein you do number of touches with them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not just going through that route. I'm just going through a simple route, as in first just do touches, set up a 5-minute call, trying to understand what they do. I'm just focusing on 3 things: who is doing their marketing, how much time are they investing, and then what's the feeler like from their business. So that's the only three things I ask, and I tell them that, hey, if you want me to continue, I can go on, but if you don't want, we can book another session or something. And then I'm pushing them to something which is basically getting them to a introduction call for R4. Yeah? And then if introduction call, I feel that they're looking good, they're interacting better, then I'm looking at booking in the survey, the audit. Along with that, I will be looking at closing the thing. So that's the basic thing I'm going right now. But definitely, I will look into the direct mailer, but not right now. So
yeah, that sounds great. I mean, the process that you're going through sounds great. I mean, it will. It has cost to it. It takes time to it. You know, there's going to be a low percentage of people that say yes to talking to you, but that's the reality of prospecting. So I would say anything that you can do to warm up the front end of that, which the best way to warm that up, Rajesh, we've talked about here recently, have content out there, have an audience that is already seeing you, hearing you, knows what you're about, so that then when you're reaching out to them, it's not truly cold. That's the best way to then help make that, a higher percentage of results of success or of success. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
One more question.
Cool,
So sorry about that. You have four outreach emails, and then each of them is spanned out at 10 days or 7 days, but each of them don't rely on the previous email. Is that by design?
Not so. If you look at the chase formula is actually a closer. So if somebody has indicated some sort of interest, then we really go after them, right? In like a 7 to 10 day period, and that is much more tightly sequenced and referencing your previous messages and all that stuff. That's totally fine. Once it's spread out to like 7 days or 10 days. It's more of like almost like just a newsletter approach, right? I'm trying to just send something valuable to stay in touch with them. The rhythm of that, whether it's 7 days, 10 days, or 3 days, is really not that. I don't think that there's any science into it, as long as you're adding value. I think that that's the most important thing. So if you're just gonna continue to email them saying, hey, can I get more of your time? Can I get your time? Can I get your time? You're just going to end up in a spam folder, or they're going to respond back to you and tell you to get lost, right? So you want to try and make sure that all of those touches are adding value first. Okay, I talk about the VIP prospecting, right? So V stands for value. So ideally in each of those emails, you want to send them something that says, hey, you're a coach. Did you know that the most successful coaches use this system to X, Y, and Z, and that, boosts their profitability by, X%, right? And here's some cool data to show you, or a white paper to share with you, or a presentation you can take a look at, or a video we made, or whatever, so that you're creating some value in that interaction. And then you're asking, if you found this valuable, I'd love to have 15 minutes on the phone with you to introduce myself and ask you a couple of questions to see if it's a potential fit to help you with something like this. So if you're adding value, I mean, shoot, you can email people every day, right? If they signed up for a newsletter, right? A lot of people are fine with getting an email every single day as long as there's value in it. But if you don't add value and all you try and do is take, then you're gonna get shut down quickly.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, you bet. Thank you. All right, Keck, how are you, sir?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for joining me here.
Yeah, thanks. I just came on board with you a couple days ago.
Awesome.
And so I actually went out of order a little bit in your courses. And I thank you for providing so many. Love everything I've encountered. Did the whole services that scale. And that's the concept I'm running with. So I just got up to the point of this morning. I bought a domain. hosted it, got the onboarding call with HighLevel, got my mailgun and Twilio. So that's right where I am in your course.
Good.
And
Good.
then you sent me a text, says, hey, office hours are coming up. So I just
Yeah,
thought I'd
yeah.
pop on and just meet you and say hi and thank you so far.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do you have any specific question I can help you with today, or are you still just digging in?
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet.
Awesome.
I
Well,
suspect next week I'll have a list for you.
I was going to say, we do these regularly, and you're always welcome to pop into the Facebook groups at any time and ask questions. So awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. I appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. Look forward to good things coming.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Gary, do you have a question? What's up, Gary? How you doing, man?
Hey, brother. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I just, I was out in the field. I own construction companies, and I had to come back to the office for something, and I got your text.
Awesome.
That's good marketing, man. Go HighLevel.
That's right. That's awesome.
And I thought I'd jump in and just learn something if I could.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to add Glenn in here. Glenn, because I believe Glenn has a question. Glenn, how are you, sir?
How are you,
Hey,
bud?
good.
Good. Hey, two questions. So the first one was a direct mail question. In my world, that's really going to be my channel to reach you. I need to reach. Just curious if you are aware, or anybody in the audience is aware of companies that are reliable, good to use, and specifically what I'm looking for is a feature where I can upload a list to them. They host the postcard basically, and then they send it from their end. Now I know Vistaprint does it. They're not necessarily real cheap. Just if anybody knows anybody else or used anybody else, let me start there.
Yeah, I think so. Postcard Mania still in business? Let me check on that real quick. Postcard Mania was this is all they did, and they were pretty darn good at it. Yeah, it looks like they're still in business. I would take a look at those guys, Glenn.
Okay.
Yeah, Postcard Mania. They are smart about incorporating use of technology into their services and into their postcard campaigns for you. So I would definitely take a look at them. And they are, the last time I dealt with them, but this was some years ago. Yeah, but you can see they're like very, very direct mail focused. It was hard for a while to find somebody that was like really direct mail focused because digital became so sexy, and so everybody went digital. These guys have stayed really direct mail focused, but they are smart about incorporating digital into. So how do we use tracking links and tracking numbers and the QR codes and send them to a smart landing page and all that stuff. They're smart about all that, but they're still like really direct mail focused. So I would definitely recommend that you check them out. And then I see there's a bunch of recommendations that are coming in as well. Handy Written. Richard said he used Postcard Mania a few years back. They were great. Howard says send out cards, maybe an option. And then actually I would say, Glenn, so is it 3D mail results? I think is what Howard recommended as well. Like if you want to do like more lumpy mail campaigns, that's what these guys are all about. And they will do they'll do some fulfillment and stuff as well. So and then man, Glenn, if you decide that you want to do more sophisticated lumpy mail stuff, get in touch with me personally because I'm drawing a blank on the name of the gentleman that I use and recommend. I've used him for, forever. His name is Devin. I just can't remember the name of his company. But anyway, if you get in touch with me, I'll share with you the name of that company. They'll do like if you want to create a pretty sophisticated lumpy mail campaign, dimensional mail campaign, then they will put that together for you and they'll manage the whole process.
Okay. I mean, that gives me some place to start. And I've used like Vistaprint in the past and they're okay. I mean, I'm just looking for options that have some more sophistication with it.
I think Postcard Mania for like postcard and basic direct mail and stuff like that. I think that you'll find them very like they know what they're doing and they're That's 100% their business. Vistaprint is really about printing.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that takes care of that. The second question is regarding websites as a service. Like, when you brought that up, I mean, that really intrigues me. And I've recognized for a long time that if you control the website, you have a lot of control and power with the customer, right? And especially now that we're talking about, adding widgets and adding things to the website, it just makes it more, much more important to do that. The two issues I have is I just don't know how. I don't understand the model as you presented it from the standpoint that we're doing $97 a month, but you're still putting the tools at $97. You're putting the tools on the site. So, how do you upsell then, right? If that includes the web chat widget and that includes Google messaging and that includes that stuff, right? That would be like a $97 offer of its own without the website, right?
Yeah.
A lot of worlds. So that's the question is, can you explain that maybe a little bit more in detail? The other sidebar question, and I don't want to derail you, but the sidebar question is what I'm finding in my world is my customers very often are not using like independent web builders. They're using these companies that specialize, like we'll give you inventory hosting if we build your website for you, right? Kind of thing. And we charge you $800 a month or $500 a month, whatever it is. So that's the challenge I'm also facing is like, how can I replace that, or build what I can build and somehow still connect to that and give them more value in that. If you could speak on that a little bit, maybe.
So the first question in particular is that it's really all about it's really about the specifics of how your overall services are packaged, right? So, but let me just try and give a few examples of scenarios so that maybe it'll help you kind of model this. So if I were, let's say, selling to a restaurant that I created the free website for them. And for $97 a month, I'm going to host that website, but I'm also going to have a call tracking number on there. I'm going to have, lead generation, pop up on there. And I'm going to connect to their social accounts and let them use this one universal inbox. And all that's going to be $97 a month. Okay.
Right.
So that's a restaurant. They're now connected. They've got their website. The website is clearly more functional than their previous website because it's generating activity and they're in this one inbox seeing this activity and they're now following up with their prospects and their leads and stuff, right? And so they can do that now and they see that. Well, I have a couple of options as to how then I could upsell that restaurant pretty darn easily. So one would be then, hey, Glenn, Mr. Restaurant Owner, our $297 level plan also includes our reputation, management system, right? So we'll be able to collect reviews and post reviews for you and stuff like that. It also includes our birthday campaign system, our holiday, themed newsletter campaigns, where we're sending out special offers, things like that. There's a variety of things that I could do for a restaurant, or a VIP club, so those types of things could be packaged into a $297 offer where there's almost nothing new or different that they have to use, from the actual system, from HighLevel. I mean, there's a couple of features that I'm now going to give them access to that they didn't have access to before. But it's now at that $297 price point. There's a ton more value to it for them, right? So that's one way. So that's really about, what are the additional features I'm turning on at the new price point? But the other way that I could do it is I could just say, hey, it's $97 a month for up to X messages each month. So you're getting calls from people on the tracking number, you're getting inbound leads, you're getting your social messages that are coming through. It's $97 a month for up to whatever it is, 2,000 messages each month. And then from 2,000 to 5,000, we bump you up to $297. And then from 5,000 up, we bump you up to 497, whatever it is. So more of a typical volume based or activity based or list size based billing model that you can just build right into HighLevel, based on the volume of their activity. So those are really kind of the two ways. One is more like features based, and the other one is more based on their actual activity or usage. That makes sense?
It does. I'm having my stumbling block is I'm currently not selling a $97 price point in my offerings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been considering doing it, and I was considering doing it with something like the website offer. But again, my issue is that if I'm giving you a website for $97, that's actually in my world a pretty good value, a decent value in of itself, right?
For
But
sure.
then if I start adding, the GHL tools into that offering at the $97, I'm kind of leaving a lot of money on the table. So that's the challenge that I'm struggling with, because again, another $97 offer could be a chat widget, Google My Business, Facebook messaging, right? And that's $97, right? Without the website, right? I just feel like I'm leaving a lot on the table, and I'm trying to figure out how to unless I just go to 197 offer.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, if you feel like
if
you feel like you're leaving a lot of money on the table, don't do it. Say we'll build your website for free, and then it's $97 hosting.
Yeah, because my real offer, the one that really gets the meat and potatoes, is $497 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just software only. There's no services in that. So I'm just, again, I could see doing like the foot in the door, or having something to offer, and that's why I'm thinking of doing it. I'm just trying to do it and not shoot myself in the foot long term.
Yeah, I think so. If that's really your concern, though, I mean, just do it $97 a month, just hosting. It's $97 a month for hosting. We're gonna, we got great hosting, and we'll give you, these access to these reports and all that good stuff, and you got your website for free. That's awesome. I mean, that's really all I did, when I rolled out that offer. I mean, is do that and put Google Analytics on it and stuff like that, so they could actually get decent reports. But a very nice, easy transition upsell from that then is to add all the features that you're talking about. Hey, you know what? In this plan, we do all of these things for your website. We put on all these things, and so you could do it that way. I would encourage you to look at what of HighLevel, and it could be literally just like analytics, just like reporting information, right? So what could I present to them from that new website that I built to them that makes the website a marketing tool? Because that's a great representation of the overall value proposition of your services. Is, hey, instead of just putting up another pretty brochure, we've started to make this functional for you, right? And so that could be just data. Like I said, it could just be data and reporting. But I would encourage you to think about that and say, okay, what could I peel off that I could give to them that would do that, start that next step of introducing them to the rest of your services?
Okay. Yeah. I think there's a value in that statement, in that I just need to figure out what that is, and because it's not, I've done things in other verticals, like in the restaurant vertical. I try to do the call tracking stuff. It was a disaster. I have a customer with such high volume. We ran up like an $80 phone bill in like 2 hours. It was insane. It was insane. It was hundreds of phone calls.
Yeah.
It was just not viable. It just wouldn't work in that world. But yeah, I mean, every vertical and every product is going to sit in a different position with that customer based on how that vertical operates. So I just need to figure out what that is. I just didn't want to, again, I'm doing a $100 a month website offer kind of now. I just don't want to do that and give away the GHL stuff on top of it, So
you don't have to. Those are just examples and suggestions of mine, but certainly you don't have to.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Good. Thanks. Let somebody else jump in, and appreciate it.
Yeah. You bet. Awesome. Thanks, Glenn. Let's see here. I see some questions. I think it's Tom Tran. Welcome, man. He says, how do I join the call? Okay, if you are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, either one, you should see in the comments on the actual live stream post, in the comments there, you should see a link that I've posted. Some other people have posted as well. Maybe somebody can post it again here real quick. That has a StreamYard link that when you click on that, you will come backstage here and I can add you to the call. So just track that down, click on it. I'll see it pop up here. And when the time is right, we'll add you to it. Okay. Let's see here. Cave Media, welcome Cave Media, joining me from YouTube, which I love it. Thank you. Says, hi Mike, can you talk a little bit on how much help you need once you reach your certain number of clients? For example, 100, 500, 1,000 clients, assuming an onboarding of about 1 hour. Okay, cool. Very good question. It's a little bit of a challenging one to answer, other than to give you like a framework to think about it, right? And so the reason why I say that is because this will vary tremendously depending on the services that you're offering, right? So if one person is offering really on the tools side of the spectrum, so they're really offering, software, and we'll give you some support of that software and some guidance on how to use that software effectively, well, then that's going to require much less of a team, right? Versus if you're all the way on the other side of the spectrum towards agency services, well, then in that agency situation, you really are probably providing a lot of hands-on, services that are going to require time and talent, right? So you're going to have to invest in that team. So what you have to do is that you have to look at what it is that you're offering and do your very, very best to put time into that service delivery over a period of time. So the way that I would break this down, depending on the services that you're offering, is I typically would break it down over the course of a month, because usually somebody is paying for a month, right? So it's $497 a month, $697 a month, whatever it is, and try and break that down into, okay, over the course of the month, what do we have to do for them that requires time from somebody on my team, right? I'm gonna have to hire somebody, whether that's outsourcing or full-time employees or whatever it is, to do something for this customer, okay? And try to break it down over the course of that month. Literally, how much time does it take to provide that service? Now, to start with this, I'm just gonna tell you right now, you may have to make some pretty big guesses. If you're just getting started, you may have to make some pretty big guesses, and that's just the nature of where you're at, right? That's the best that you can do. Of course, do research and try and find any role models that you can try and look at to get some answers. But then you're going to have to take some guesses, okay? And so you're going to break down those costs and put a time to it. Literally, if you hire somebody, what's the total cost of having that person on board, their salary, their benefits, overhead associated with them, insurance, all that type of stuff. And then you're going to determine an hourly rate then for that person. And you're going to say, okay, if that person's hourly time can be billed out, let's say at a 75% utilization rate. So 25% of the time, we're not going to be able to really make them productive because whatever, they're talking at the water cooler, they're taking vacations, whatever it is. And I can give you formulas for all of this in much more detail, in a mastermind call or in the Facebook group. But then you're going to take that and say, okay, if we allocate this every month, then what is my cost of delivering those services? And then, develop that into a staffing plan. And you say that you are much more on the software side. Okay, cool. So if you have an hour onboarding for each customer, then what you need to do then is that you need to model how quickly are you getting those customers. And is that 1 hour onboarding, is that just one-on-one person to person, or is there a way that you can scale that? It's a weekly group onboarding, that type of thing. So you can onboard 25 customers at once. You got to think through some of those things. But if you were doing a 1 hour onboarding, then it would really depend on the volume of how quickly you think you're signing up customers, right? So you need to come up with a realistic sales plan and say that realistic sales plan says, hey, I think we can bring on 10 new customers each week. Okay, well, 10 new customers each week, 1 hour of onboarding, that's 10 hours. That, is not anywhere near one person, right? It's a quarter of a person. So, you should be able to handle that just fine and scale that pretty darn well with one onboarding person. Now, you're going to have support costs as well, right? You're going to have some sort of support costs associated with that as well. To get that metric, I would suggest that what you do is you just look at some publicly available data on SaaS companies and how much they spend on support, and then determine, hey, do I want to be on the lean side of that, or do I want to be a real hands-on, awesome support organization? So I'm going to be on the heavy side of that, and just kind of model that out based on what you're seeing on a percentage basis. Now, percentages oftentimes don't work when it comes to hiring people, right? You're not going to hire 10% of a person to be your support person if you're hiring them full time. If you're outsourcing that, okay. But if you say, hey, I want to have really awesome support from day one, well, you may have to hire somebody from day one as a full-time employee, even though they won't have anywhere near enough work to support, right? So in that case, you may want to have your onboarding person be your support person for a period of time. And then as the support requirements ramp up or the onboarding requirements ramp up, then you hire those out into multiple dedicated people and just start shaping up your plan that way. But again, to determine what kind of staffing you're going to need at that 100, 500, 1,000 clients, I really, based on the fact that you're selling it as a software, it's really sales, marketing, and support. Right? I mean, those are really your investments, sales, marketing, and support, since your development is being handled, by somebody else. So I would just look at some of the benchmarks that are out there, and literally, if you just did a search for, we'll just do like SaaS support cost benchmarks to see what we come up with. Yeah, so this is awesome. This is why the Google is our best friend. Let me just go back to the StreamYard here, and I can share the screen here. But I just did a search, like I said, for SaaS support cost benchmarks, and you can see here, SaaS metric templates, side-by-side vendor comparison for software, spending benchmarks for private B2B SaaS companies. And you can see here, there's so much good data on this because there's so many venture capitalists that invest in SaaS businesses. So you can see right here, customer support and success is roughly 10%, selling costs 20%, marketing costs 10%, G&A 17%. So you can start to model that way. So if you had, $500 customers and you had 1,000 of them, that's $500,000 of revenue. That would tell you that you're spending about $50,000 in customer and support costs. So that's a person, right? So that will give you at least some benchmarks to work with. And I hope that helps you. Cave Media, I hope that helps you. And like I said, I'm happy to help in more detail in the Facebook groups or on a future call if you want to get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty there. Okay, Tom Tran. My man, welcome to the call. You found it.
Dude, I swear it was like needle in the haystack. I'm here.
All right, good. Welcome.
All right, brother. Question for you. I need some advice in structuring a deal. I put it in one of the chats, but I'll kind of recap. I have a buddy of mine who currently is doing lead gen and sales training for a niche that he's been working in and hitting pretty hard. And he currently has anywhere between 50 to 60 clients. We had a conversation. He was like, dude, I could absolutely use your help in, bolting on additional services, i.e. all of the stuff in HighLevel. Specifically, since his lead generation right now is through Facebook, we obviously want to pipe that information into HighLevel, set up automations, do the appointment reminders on the back end. So what I would be responsible for is basically helping him to implement all HighLevel into the business and into the service offering. The question, brother, is how do I set up this type of an agreement? I don't want to call it a partnership, but this business arrangement, I guess, properly. What would you kind of give me in terms of tips, in terms of structuring it the right way? So we have a, revenue share in place, and, we're just make sure everything is just kind of like just on paper and dialed in,
Yeah. That's a good question. This is a challenging scenario. So, really quickly here, a word from our sponsor. Since we're talking about HighLevel a bunch, if anybody's watching this, if you have any questions, what the heck we're talking about, you can head to servicesthatscale.com/HighLevel, and I will explain to you there what HighLevel is all about and why I recommend it so much and why so many people here in the community are talking about it. Really, really cool piece of software and community for anybody providing marketing services to the small business marketplace. I'm a huge fan of it and provide a lot of training and resources to help people be successful with it. So back to your question, Tom. So this is one of my least favorite conversations because these scenarios almost never work, and people go into them with such optimistic expectations, and I love it because I wish that these situations did work more often than they do, because it just seems like, man, wouldn't it be awesome? We could all be scratching each other's backs, and it helps everybody out, right? It's just rare. Yeah, somebody wrote in their partnerships almost always suck. And Tom, I'm glad you said, I'm not going to use that word partnership. You've probably heard me talk about that before. I hate the word partnership. I think it's a sloppy, overly used term by people who haven't thought through the details of what they're getting into and how they're going to get out of it if it goes wrong and all that stuff. So I'm glad to hear that. So I think that there are really the ideal scenario here. The ideal scenario is that you guys were just able to go into business together, right? Just, hey, we're committed to this. We're joining forces. We've got, a legal structure that says you're going to own this, I'm going to own that. And if we need to get out of it, then here's how we're going to get out of it, right? That's the ideal scenario, because you're both committed and you're going for it, and you are both putting real resources behind it, and it's got teeth, right? It's got teeth. You guys both have real incentive to then go and maximize this opportunity together. And as I said, and this is critically important, you have a way of getting out if for whatever reason it doesn't work out. You've got clear, like, hey, look, we're going to do this, but if for some reason a year from now this just isn't working out the way we thought it was going to work out, here's how we're going to separate in a way that we're both okay with. Not to say that it's not going to be painful to separate. There can be pain there, and that again isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you guys are really getting committed if you go into this. But you got to have a way out, because the reality is sometimes these things just don't work out the way you want them to, and so you got to have that vehicle in place. So that I say that that's the ideal scenario. The reason why I say that, Tom, is because I think that the reason why the far majority of these things don't work out is lack of commitment. that it just, I'm going to refer Tom business, and Tom's going to help, do these things for my customers and stuff like that. But if there isn't that real commitment that this is how my business is going to operate going forward, that it just doesn't materialize. It ends up being, 90 days from now, hey man, I'm ready, and I'm hoping you're going to start bringing me some of those customers, but it just doesn't really fully materialize, and it ends up just kind of being a waste of time.
Mike,
so
yep. Thank you for that.
Yep.
And I guess just kind of like a more specific question, no names, but if I was in this, how would I structure a deal similar to, say, how you had helped one of our mutual friends structure a deal in white labeling HighLevel to his community? Yep.
Cool. So in that particular scenario, and this is what I would recommend for you, I think, is that you do take a similar approach. Mm-hmm. Is that it was just literally a revenue share, and a net revenue. So not a profitability, but a net revenue directly associated with those services. So not gross revenue. So gross revenue, very top line, but there was obviously some costs involved. So we took out those costs and we say, okay, here's net revenue. And then we just split on that net revenue on a percentage basis that we agree to. Okay. And so in that scenario, that's how that's working. And what's really important to understand in that scenario, Tom, is that I am very clearly taking a backseat position to, hey, this is your business. These are your customers. This is your brand. You ultimately are going to decide whatever the heck you want to do with all of this. But I'm helping to get it set up and to guide it and all that type of stuff. And for doing that, here's the compensation that I'm getting. So there's risk on my part. Hey, you may not do anything with that, and so I waste my time spinning my wheels, right? That's just the reality of that situation.
So Mike, if I went down that path, how would I say structure the revenue split in the context of is it right for the only example I can kind of throw out there, right? One person's bank account, we have this agreement, we both have access to the bank account, and then I get cut a check. I don't like that. I feel as though like I'm just giving up too. What would be the best way to kind of structure that part on the back end?
You mean structure it like as in what percentage should I get? Or are you talking about like legal structure or what? I mean, in terms of
how do you manage the payments? Like it goes into like one person's bank account, and then after that, whatever we agreed upon, that person just owes, like, say, me a check for whatever is agreed upon.
Yep.
And if they decide not to commit, then that's just a level of trust, and everything that's in the agreement and is what we'd have to fall back on, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Level of trust. I mean, obviously, if you have an agreement, you would have, you could always lawyer up and say, hey, look, I think you're not honoring the agreement, and so I'm gonna try and legally enforce it. But in terms of the actual mechanics of it, the way that I would recommend that it's done ideally is that there's some sort of affiliate program in place. So that you can literally see, hey, there's, these transactions came in, my percentage is this. So I have this waiting for me for payout, at the end of the month or whatever it is. That's the ideal scenario. And just depending on who you're getting into business with and all that type of stuff, you got to decide, are you going to go that route, or you're going to go the route of, hey, your CFO does a report at the beginning of each month and says, here's what happened over the last month and here's your pay, and you're okay with that, right? So that's one end of the spectrum, is somebody's just putting together a report for you, and it's good faith, you trust them, you've got a relationship with them. The far other end of the spectrum, I think, is what you're talking about, where it's like literally payments go into a separate bank account and all that good stuff. But the only again, that's pretty darn high degree of commitment. for somebody to get in doing that with you, which that could be a good thing, right? That's a good sign that, you're getting them to take it that seriously, that they're setting up new bank accounts and all that good stuff to work with you at that level.
So on the affiliate side, if I was to structure it like that, this was literally going to be that follow-up question. Essentially, like if I'm thinking about just the tools that come top of mind, HighLevel is going to be the platform. Would then I say use something like First Promoter? How would that affiliate structure work? Would I be the affiliate of that other? Put me in the same position as you were in this other deal, right?
Yeah.
But then walk me through that. Would then I be an affiliate of that, and then that would be the link, or
you would be an affiliate, yes, and. Yeah, so there would be a contract set up in the system that every time that they sign up an account, you would get a percentage based on that account. Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Super helpful.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. I hope that turns out to be a good one for you. And I do think so. I mean, Tom, you obviously know the scenario that I did there. I think that's a great opportunity for people to model, particularly if you're working with somebody who has a good sized list.
Yep.
That can drive accounts quickly and high volume. It's a great model.
Yeah, it's like I understood. I see the opportunity, but I also see the fact that all the things you're talking about, right? And that's why I'm like, yeah, I've never successfully done this yet. I need to lean on my coach and one of my good friends to be able to just. Here are the roadblocks. Here's some things you need to watch out for and some pitfalls. So thank you. So I'm going to continue to flesh this out because at least I have more traction in it because I was getting in my own way. I'm like, I don't know how to successfully do this. I haven't done it before,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to help. So just keep me posted.
Of course. I will. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
All right. Let's see here. Richard, I don't know if you can join in or not. It says simple question. When you give someone a tracking number in SaaS mode, am I paying for that number or are they? Okay. So this is a question specific to HighLevel SaaS mode Richard is referring to, where you can turn on these services inside of HighLevel. So Twilio based tracking tracking numbers, phone calls, SMS, email, and then you can actually rebill and resell those services for them or to your customers through that system. So in that, so when someone gives me a tracking number in SaaS mode, am I paying for that number or are they? So Richard, just to make sure, technically, they are paying you. Okay, and you are paying Twilio or the email provider, okay, based on your account. So technically, that is the way it's happening, right? So their credit card you are billing them on their credit card. Okay, so I think that's what you're asking. If someone is tracking number in SaaS mode, am I paying for that or are they? I think that's what you're asking, and so. Technically, that's the way that would happen in that process. You're essentially marking up and reselling what is happening in Twilio in that particular case. Okay. Facebook user, I can't see your name, says this is great talk about marketing to channels. Yeah, absolutely. Channels are, I think, one of the most important concepts. Channels are one of the most important concepts in selling to small businesses, but just in selling in general, right? And that's why the beginning of this call, we talked about building an audience. That's essentially turning you into a channel. Channels are very valuable because it's a very efficient way to reach a group of prospects or customers without having to start from scratch and do it one at a time, right? So if you can tap into somebody's existing channel to reach your prospects or customers, you can accelerate the growth of your business dramatically, and it just makes life just much easier. Absolutely. Richard says, then how do I disclose this stuff on my site? Should I just put the cost of the text and stuff? Yeah, so Richard, yes, whatever, when you're setting up your reselling in SaaS mode, so let's just say that Twilio is charging you a penny per message, and you decide that you want to charge 3 cents per message, 3 pennies per message, okay? Then what you would just have on your website is, you know, our software is, you know, $297 a month. And each message is billed at 3 cents a message. So when you're using Twilio and call tracking, all that type of stuff, messages are billed at 3 cents a message. Okay. So, you would, just have that as part of your service plans. Okay. Now what you can do with SaaS mode, Richard, which I think is a fantastic option, is you can also build credit in to your plans. So let's say you have a $297 a month plan and you want to offer, $50 of that as credit towards those messages. So I wouldn't say it's $50 of credit towards messages. What I would say is that includes, 500 messages, whatever the numbers work out to be. It includes 500 messages, and then every message after that is billed at 3 cents a message. Okay. Awesome. Mark, thank you so much. Mark says, I just registered as your Go High Level affiliate. Which one of your courses do you recommend that I start with? That is a great question, Mark, and I appreciate, thank you so much for signing up through me. That's very kind of you. And let's see here, the best starting point, I think, for you. So you should get an email, Mark, in the follow-up from me that has my foundation courses roadmap, okay? My foundation courses roadmap. If you don't get that, let me know, because I hope that you do. But what I will do here real quickly is, if I can pull it up fast without dragging this out too long, I will pull up that screen here and just show you, because I do have a lot of courses. And so I want to make sure that I simplify as much as possible what that path is. And I think I got it pulled up here so that you guys will be able to see. Give me 1 second to turn on my screen share for the right spot. And then I think we'll be good. Okay, cool. So let me just remove your question real quick, Mark. Okay, so you should be able to see then this roadmap, and let's see if I get, okay. And so you can see here, I've broken down my courses into strategy, startup, opening for business, generating leads, nurturing leads, closing deals, and keeping customers, okay? So based on that, what I would tell you, Mark, is, one, you need to look at where you're at from a business perspective. So I don't know, Mark, maybe you're, okay, cool. So Mark, and you're on the $497 plan. Okay, awesome, good. Then what I would say, so as part of the $497 plan, you're getting access to MSP Academy, which you don't see on this list because it's not one of my foundation courses. It's my mastermind and coaching program. So in that case, MSP Academy is my most hands-on, starting from strategy and then going through all of this. It's the most hands-on program that I have for you. So I would recommend that you get into that, and start coming to those coaching calls each week, because we can really dig into things. But before you do that, I would recommend make sure you've gone through my agency acceleration and services that scale is the exact same concepts that we're going to cover in MSP Academy, but you can get through that more quickly than you will if you go through the MSP Academy curriculum. So I would go at least through those two things at a high level as quickly as you can, and then I would get onto those coaching calls on MSP Academy. Okay, so that will give you a really, really solid foundation to kind of understand my approach. And then, okay, awesome. because it's really important that you start with a strategy for your business rather than just starting, right? It's a big mistake that so many people make is they just want to start selling something. But you got to have a strategy for what you're doing to give you the best chance of success. So do those things. And then the next thing, Mark, is I would tell you is to jump into Agency Sales Funnel Bootcamp and start working your way through that. In Agency Sales Funnel Bootcamp, what you're going to do is you're going to set up HighLevel for your own agency. So you're going to set up HighLevel so that you've got your own automated sales process set up using HighLevel. And there's two reasons why that's so critical. One, we've got to make sure that you've got your own good automated sales process out there so you can start collecting attention and leads and following up with them and all that good stuff. But then two, it's going to give you a real good overview of how the system works. Oh, cool. Yeah. Awesome, Mark. Awesome. It's going to give you a real good overview of how the system works so that when you start wanting to develop services around it, you're going to have a better understanding of, what you can do and how to do it. Okay. So awesome. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you for being in the program, and I look forward to working with you. Somebody mentioned, do you get those resources at the 297 level of Go HighLevel? Yes, you absolutely do as well. Yep, you absolutely do at that 297 or above. Yeah, so awesome. I look forward to working with you. Let's see here. I see Mac Daddy on the call. Let's see here. Let me get you in here. How you doing, sir? Oh, you're muted.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Welcome to the call. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Can't miss something from the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Cooch.
That's awesome. Or are you just stopping in, or you have anything I can help you with? Or
Yeah, I was just stopping in, trying to be in a fly on the wall. I should have probably said that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's just good to get some faces up here other than mine.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Mark says, can you check on my account? I don't have access. Yeah, so let me just, if you would, and I can't post it on here, but I'll add that to my banners here. Let me see if I can do this quickly. I can. Watch this. Help at services that scale. Just gonna, if you wouldn't mind, any support questions that you have there, Mark, just so I don't forget, just send to help@servicesthatscale.com, and that way we'll have a ticket open so it doesn't get lost, and my support team can also help, which will probably get you faster service than waiting on me. So if you wouldn't mind, just send a ticket there, and we will get you all taken care of. All right. Awesome. Let's see here. Ryan, I'll remove you there just so we're not sitting there staring at you if you don't want to be stared at. And then any other questions or anything, fire them in here. Let me go back through the comments and see if I missed anything. Let's see here. Tom, I believe, yeah, okay, that was you. I can tell by the question there. Okay, Dia, is it Dia or Dia? Dia Alexander says, hey, Mike, I'm new to SaaS and I just saw your live video. I'm stuck with deciding a niche. You're new to the business. Cool. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome and on my YouTube channel. I love it. That's awesome. So yeah, choosing a niche is tough for a lot of people. That is absolutely the case for a bunch of people. So I have a more structured answer here. Let me just see if I can get to that slide here real quick so that I can give you a more thoughtful answer than me just kind of ad lib in here. Yeah, cool. So let me go back to share my screen here. And hopefully this will help, and hopefully I bet you there's some others that this will help as well. Okay. So you should see, if you don't, actually, let me just make sure. Yep. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and remove your question for now, Diet. But yeah, so this is how I think that you should be approaching how to pick your market and your niche. And you can see here that there's a number of factors to take into account. Okay. The factors are, what is the size of that market that you're going after? Okay. Bigger market just means bigger opportunities. Okay. I should say bigger market means bigger potential for opportunities. Doesn't necessarily mean bigger opportunities, because maybe there's a competitor in that market that's already, crushing it, dominating, and you're going to have a hard time keeping up with, right? So if that's the case, then it may not necessarily mean bigger opportunities for you. But generally, and then growth rate, okay? A rising tide lifts all boats. It's so true in business that if a market is growing and it is quickly growing, it creates opportunities. Okay, you can look like a genius in a fast growth market, even when you're not actually a genius, right? So the growth rate is important. Accessible channels. Okay, so we talked about channels just a few minutes ago. This is one of the most important things to me, is, are there accessible channels? What I mean is, can you find somebody that has already gathered your audience, your target audience, that you would be able to tap into to attract customers more quickly? Okay, examples of this are trade shows, newsletter lists, podcasts, YouTube channels, influencers, right? Any of those could be a channel. There's more channels now than ever. This used to be very limited. But now social media has created essentially an endless possibilities in terms of channels, right? Because, there's now, who knows how many YouTube video channels out there for any niche. And so if any of those have a good size audience paying attention to them, you could go and sponsor their YouTube channel. You could get an interview on their YouTube channel. You could see, hey, do you have a mailing list as well? An email list, and I can email the people that are following you. So there's just, so many channels out there, which is awesome. Proof of success, I think, is really important. Most of you don't want to be like really true pioneers in a market. You want to find that, hey, there's somebody out there doing this successfully already in that market. So I know it can be done. And if it can be done by them, it can be done by me. I think that's most entrepreneurs. That's really their mindset versus being a true pioneer. Being a true pioneer has risk and is costly, right? So looking for proof of success. I should have started, but I will add this one next. Who do you want to take care of? Okay, I think that this is just such an important factor that people do not pay nearly enough attention to. Who do you want to take care of? And what I mean by that is that in today's world where consumers have almost infinite choices, okay, I mean, who knows how many bazillions of competitors that are out there producing similar content as mine, right? You can go and tune into any of them and all of them, okay? And many of you are, right? You're tuning into lots of them. If I don't really care about this audience and care about the things that you and I are all working on, I won't survive. And I know that, right? I have a bazillion competitors in this market. I've seen a bazillion of them come and go, right? And that's because a lot of them are just doing it to make money, and then they're gone. And they're gone because their audience feels that they're just doing it to make money, and then they desert them. And if your audience feels like you're just doing it to make money, they will desert you too, because they will have options. And it's so easy to find those options now online that if you're not authentically interested in taking care of them in their best interests, right? And you can't spend the time and energy that it takes to really demonstrate that because you're just not interested, don't do it. You'll get your butt kicked. Okay, and I can tell you this from experience because I've made this mistake. Okay, when Shopify, I don't even know if they're still doing this or not, but Shopify used to have the Shopify Challenge, right? Which was to recognize and reward the fastest growing e-commerce companies, right? Well, a handful of years ago, I decided to jump into e-commerce, right? My entrepreneurial ADD, I said, hey, I can do this. So I jumped into e-commerce, and sure enough, I had the 9th fastest growing Shopify store in the world that year. And I was number 9 in the Shopify Challenge, which was awesome. I missed getting to go to see Richard Branson on his island because I think that was only like the top 3 or whatever. So I was bummed about that. But number 9, that was pretty cool. And guess what? Within 24 months, I had completely driven that business into the ground. And the reason why is because I couldn't care less about the market, and the market knew. Okay, it was selling a product that I didn't care about to people that I had nothing in common with, and those people have an infinite number of choices on the internet now, and so they went to somebody that they could tell authentically cared about them and was building a true community around them, like I hope you guys can with me here when we're talking about this stuff. I love this stuff, and I love you guys. I love early stage entrepreneurs. I could spend all day long every day doing nothing but talking to you guys about how to build a business. This is my favorite thing in the world. So if you're not into them and you're not going to take care of them like that, you're not going to last. You're not in today's world where information is so freely available and choices are so plentiful. Your customers are going to go someplace else. And your churn rate will eat you alive, and you'll wonder why. That's why. Okay? So the final thing then is a winning strategy. You know, ultimately, you've got to be competitive in that marketplace. And so can you come up with a way to compete, right? Because if you can't come up with a way to compete in that market and win, then you're in trouble, right? So can you come up with a competitive strategy to win? So those are the major 6 factors. There's also things to consider. Segmentation, right, in your niche. So by industry, by function. So by function, what I mean is you may just want to be a podcast marketing expert versus an overall marketing expert, right? So nail a function. A video marketing expert, a Facebook marketing expert, whatever. Geographic, maybe you want to just own a particular city or a particular region, right? Demographics, right, of the people that you're targeting. Psychographics of the people that you're targeting. Are you targeting specific professions and certain buyer behavior? What I mean by buyer behavior is, let's take that podcasting example. You know, there are podcasters out there that they want the whole thing just taken care of for them. Hey, look, you just produce everything for me. I don't want to have to think about a thing. I want to record and then you do everything. Okay. And then there are podcasters out there that say, no, I own and run the whole podcast. I just want you to edit the episode in a certain way and get it back to me within 24 hours. So that's a different service than being a full service podcast agency, right? So there's buyer behavior differences within big markets that you could target very specific segments of with your service, all right? Ultimately, these 6 factors, though, are the things that you really, really have to hone in on. And I wish that I could just tell you, hey, go after this niche and you're going to be happy that you did. It just doesn't work that way. I wish it did. And I will tell you, I know it is a frustrating process to try and make this decision because when you're just getting started, it can feel like you have unlimited choices and that makes it hard. what I would tell you or recommend to you is that you just, you do it thoughtfully, do it very thoughtfully, because you should be looking at this as a 10-year decision. I'm going to be doing this for the next 10 years. Okay. That's how important this decision is. So it's a good decision to be thoughtful about. And then to kind of balance that though, what I would say is to set yourself a timeline. You know, whether that's 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 45 days from now, whatever the answer is, at some point or another, you got to just make a decision to go. And so I would give yourself a timeline and say, hey, look, by that day, I'm making a call and I'm running with it and I'm not looking back. All right. Awesome, Jimmy. Thank you. I hope that helped you, Ty. And again, thank you so much for tuning into the live stream and joining me on YouTube. All right. Any other questions? That's the last question I see in the comments. Any other questions that I can help with today? Please go ahead and chat them in, or you can use that link to join in if you'd like to talk, and I can put you up here on camera and we can chat. Otherwise, while I'm waiting on that, let me do a couple of plugs here. If you are, a lot of folks who tune into this, I know, are in the agency or marketing services business. I have a free course for you at servicesthatscale.com/grow faster. Servicesthatscale.com/grow faster. That's where you'll find my agency acceleration course. In that, I just share with you the 7 most important strategies and distinctions that help me grow my businesses to 7 figures and beyond as quickly as possible. So again, that's a free course. I hope that you can join me for that. Servicesthatscale.com/grow faster. And then last shameless plug I will give is, if you are here, please make sure that you are subscribing to subscribing to the YouTube channel, Facebook. Follow me anywhere, everywhere that you can. I love to build the community as much as possible. Share it with anybody that you think would get value. And I appreciate you doing that to help me out. Daya, awesome, very good. I hope I'm saying your name right. Awesome. Terrence says, just want your idea of how you can see HighLevel and your training fitting into the travel industry, as a travel agency. Cool, Terrence. So let me see here. I mean, so Terrence, I don't know if if you're approaching this as in you're a travel agency and you want to apply HighLevel, to your business, or are you saying that you want to offer services to the travel industry? I think the second one I could speak to, or the first one I was going to say, if you're a travel agency, you could just use HighLevel as your set of marketing tools, just like you would use any other marketing tools. But if you were providing services to the travel industry, then I would suggest that you are, just like any other niche, the travel industry can take full advantage of all of the digital marketing fundamentals, right? Reputation, lead capture, lead follow-up, nurturing, all that stuff needs to happen in the agency, in that travel agency industry. And that's an industry that, they used to be this cool kind of, I don't know, a real hands-on kind of boutique-y type of business that has had, I know a lot of that industry destroyed by the fact that we can just get online now to Travelocity and all this type of stuff and research things and buy our own tickets on Orbitz or whatever. So those who are still in that industry, providing a cool hands-on service is actually a really great thing. Like I'd love to work with a travel agent to have them design something for me, so I don't have to think through all those details, and they can get me access to things I don't even know about, all that good stuff. So having effective marketing is critical for them to be able to do that. It's a higher cost customer, and I have to feel good about investing in them. So that means they've got to do good marketing, good nurturing, good newsletter, good Instagram presence, all that good stuff. So, I mean, yeah, exactly, Terrence. So, HighLevel fits in that perfectly. Just like what I recommend for any other industry, build a system around HighLevel for that industry. And when I say a system, that means not just the tool, not just the software, but what are the other services that you can wrap around that tool to make it a very effective, complete system for them to capitalize on. Okay, I hope that helps you. Yeah, online, it doesn't matter. Online agency, offline agency. I mean, everything is online today, right? I mean, if it's not, then, it's in trouble. So, let's see here. Should we be creating a sub account for each individual snapshot or one sub account? I think it's a great idea. This is, again, a great idea to create individual sub accounts for individual snapshots. And the reason why is it just helps you keep things organized. It can be hard to keep things organized when you're importing a bunch of snapshots into a bunch of different accounts. So what I always do, if I'm importing a snapshot, I import it into a new sub account. I then see what's in that snapshot that I want to utilize, and I copy those assets into whatever my main account is that I actually want to use those assets in. So I may download a snapshot and say, hey, out of this whole thing, there's really only one, landing page and 2 campaigns that I want to use at my business. So I'll just copy the one landing page and the campaigns directly over into my main account. And that way I didn't download all that other junk and have to figure out how to get rid of it or whatever. Okay. Howard says, have you updated your Facebook ads training yet? Which course would that be in? No, Howard, I haven't updated it. Honestly, I don't even know that there's anything to update, Howard. I don't know that there is. I just went through and created my my ads, recreated my ads here just this last week. I don't know that there's anything to update. So just the attention engine and the Blitzkrieg remarketing campaign, you can find those in those individual courses, or you can also, find those in MSP Academy, in leverage selling, Howard, those are your best places. Let's see here. Jimmy says the luxury travel industry is popping now. I worked with one a couple of years ago here in Vegas. Yeah, I would believe it. I would absolutely believe it. The cool thing is that the right travel agents will understand that they can capitalize on what we just were talking about earlier in choosing your niche, right? Which is, if you really care about those customers that you're taking care of, and that means that you're going to really get to know, hey, if you want to go to Tuscany, I can set you up with the most incredible place, with the most incredible people. There's going to be this guide that will show you around these things that, nobody gets to see in Tuscany unless you're a local. Like, I'll pay for that all day long, right? So the people who really understand that and understand that information advantage that they can utilize is an incredible opportunity. Sarah, hi Sarah, says Sarah Molina Welsh. Awesome, thank you. Just want to make sure I understood you correctly. Let's see here. Sarah says, do you like StreamYard? Because I'm not sure I like this setup, but thanks again. I always learn something on these calls. Sarah, I do like StreamYard. What I love about it is that the replay for this call will be immediately available to you in high quality HD, ready to go. I love that about it. And I think, pros and cons with Zoom, or using a webinar system or something like that. But I really love it for that. I think all of the other components of it in terms of screen sharing and bringing you guys on the call and all that type of stuff, they all work just fine for me. I know for you, it's a little bit harder for me to get people to the right links and stuff, which I know I got to figure that out. But I love StreamYard, the actual system that I'm using here for live streaming. I think that they have done an amazing job. I can't recommend them enough. Super easy to use, super affordable. I totally dig it. Oh, Sarah, cool. Yeah, it says you were the one that asked about the sub accounts. Not sure why it didn't show. Yeah, you're showing now. It wasn't showing earlier, but it shows now. So awesome. Thank you for being here. Howard says, are we forced to add a Twilio number for each new sub account? That's a good question, Howard. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure on that, to tell you the truth. That is something to look up. That is definitely something to look up. Cool. Let's hear. Richard, where'd you get your custom hats at, Mike? Anyone you recommend? I'd have to get the name for you, Richard, which I'm happy to. Just ping me in Facebook or wherever, and I'll get that to you. I don't know the name offhand. They were very easy to work with. Did a great job, I thought. So, and it's funny. That's a good question, because actually finding good hat makers that are actually easy to deal with and don't try and gouge you on prices and stuff is not as easy as you would think it would be. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah. All right, awesome. Look, everybody, I got to run. We're here at just about 2 full hours, so I've got to jump. The join link for these calls, just so you know, to be able to join and talk to me, I'm always posting in the Facebook comments and in the YouTube comments right when the calls start. So that is where you would find that join link to be able to hop on the call with me here in the future. So if you didn't get that this time, I hope we can get that on a future call. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Really appreciate it. This is Mike Cooch. This is Office Hours. I hope to see you on a future call. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your business. Please subscribe to the channels wherever you're at here, and we'll see you on a future call and a future video. Okay, have a great Friday and a great weekend. We'll talk to you real soon.